Hi guys, I just went to the front page of Casted, and I figured I'd do what I could to kind of help out the community, regardless of what league they are, and I myself am nowhere near Masters League, even though I'm a Diamond League player. Without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and cast both players, give them their proper introductions. In the upper right-hand corner, spawning as our Protoss in the red trunks, I give you tGMixMaster. The THGN? tGMixMaster. Now, if I'm not mistaken, TG... Ooh, I hate when this happens. I don't know why it happens. Like, I can actually, like, mouse wheel click over here, and it will suddenly take me, like, all the way over here. And I have no clue why it does this. Something up with my mouse. Anyway. And, sorry to distract you guys. In the lower left-hand corner, spawning is our Plotoss in the Brew Trunks. Or Protoss in the blue trunks. I give you Neo. Yes. I like this. Very sophisticated name, even though it's only 3 letters long, you know. There's no way you can't appreciate that. Now talking about this map for just a little bit, in terms of PvP, I think, you know, there's a lot of potential for this, especially with the new meta game. A lot of people seem to be going Stargate, and really the PvP and PvZ matchups. I will highlight that the open space here, like basically between the I want to say the main and what would basically be 4th or 5th base, is rather large, rather substantial. So there's a lot of room for a Warp Prism to get in, and it looks like Neo is going for a double gas opener as opposed to Mixmaster going for a single gas opener, which would typically lead into an expo of some sort. 2 workers on gas so far, not a full 3. But let's just wait and see what we're going to have from Neo. I'm banking on, because he went for the double gas opener, and this seems to be what's trending with higher level play, I'm going to say that he's probably going to go with I know the name of it in Chinese, but not English. He's going to go with either a Twilight Council opening or a Stargate opening. I'm kind of leaning towards a Stargate opening myself, and in response to seeing the double gas from Neo, we have Mixmaster going in for his own second gas. What we could see is a possible robotics bay, but even then, what I think we're going to see from Mixmaster is him basically trying his damnedest to get some scouting information out of his opponent's main. Shortly after the Cybernetics Core finishes up, we're going to see basically 2 things happen. We're going to have the Mothership Core in production, and I believe after he reaches full saturation, 17 probes on this mineral line would be too much unless he was actually opting to go for an expo. Yes, that's too many workers, but it's okay. It's okay. It looks like the Zealot caught Neo scouting his opponent. And there's the Robo Bay. I think what Mixmaster is thinking is that his opponent is going to go for a Blink Stalker play. And basically what that's all going to depend on is excellent control of Immortals. Mothership Core is now on the way for Neo, by the way. And as long as there's excellent control of the Immortals by what's his face? By as long as Mixmaster controls his Immortals well, they will not be able to shoot up versus the Stargate units that we have coming here. And the Stalker looks like it's going to get that probe kill. And this is the vital information that we see Mixmaster lacking right now. He doesn't know that his opponent actually has a Stargate on the way. He was actually assuming that it would be Twilight Council play. And Twilight Council play is actually good versus Blink Stalkers as long as you can control your Immortals well, but this is not the kind of game that we're going to see. We're not going to see Blink Stalkers versus Immortals. What we're more likely going to see is a Void Ray or a group of Void Rays moving in with some Zealots on the ground, trying to do some damage. And let's see what the first choice unit is. It looks like it's going to be an Oracle. You know, Neo's thinking, okay, well, I can probably get some probe kills because the Oracle moves faster than the Stalkers as long as they don't have Blink. And we have more gateways being added on for Mixmaster. Mixmaster floating a significant number of minerals right now. And it looks like his line of thinking is opting for an Expo. There we go. Observer going into the main. And he's like, oh, snap, it's not a Twilight Council. Just as the first Immortal pops out. This is not to say that this Immortal is altogether useless, but it will come into play later on in the game as we see the Stalker count rise. But of course, we have to see some kind of response from Mixmaster that says he's ready to defend this attack. And there it is. 4 Stalkers actually in the main, just warped in. He's just gonna leave him there. Mildly appreciable play, and Neo is just altogether paying attention to that Oracle. He doesn't want to lose it, and he's probably thinking to himself, "Oh shucks, my opponent's got an observer floating around my base somewhere." He's like, "Great, how did he know that was coming?" Of course, one thing that he really needs to see is whether or not his opponent has an Expo, and he's basically assumed that much, even though he hasn't seen it. But he needs to know, is it in production, what's the probe count like on it, things like that. And he sees just one probe here, and he's going to go in for that kill. Smooth move. And if we check the probe count right now, which is the most critical thing at this stage in the game, it's actually 39 to 28. I would say that right now it would be safe-ish for Neo to maybe try and opt for an all-in of some sort. I don't play Protoss. In fact, I have less than 10 wins on the ladder as Protoss, but let's just kind of sit here and speculate for a while. One thing that I will, again, bring to everyone's attention is the immense popularity of Void Ray play in PvP, simply because they get a buff versus the most basic anti-air units from Protoss, that being the Stalkers. They are armored units, of course, and the prismatic alignment is just altogether indescribably invaluable to any Protoss that's doing this. And wow, this is actually not a good amount of infrastructure. I just noticed how many minerals we see Neo floating. He's actually playing against Protoss like it's Zerg right now. You should have tacked on a lot more gateways a lot earlier, but it's alright because we see that tGMixMaster is just spending all of his money on photon cannons presently. And of course he's teching up to Robotics Bay as well. This seems to be the Wings of Liberty meta. And of course, Neo is also attacking on the Twilight Council at the same time as the Robotics Bay, so he's going to be able to use Blink Stalkers and Colossi at the same time. However, it seems that from Neo so far, all we have is 3 gateways, double Forge going down. So we're going to see upgrades getting cranked out 2 at a time, and higher level Protoss play, what I typically see is Forge going into effect, or excuse me, not into effect, but really upgrades coming into play much later in the game when, say, Protoss is taking their 3rd Expo. But there we go, Twilight Council on the way for Mixmaster. The question is, what are we going to see from each player after their Twilight Council is finished? This one's been finished substantially, and it looks like we have Neo going for charge while simultaneously researching extended thermal lance and +1 attacks. And did I just miss my... here we go. +1 armor is also on the way at the same time. I'm wondering if he's going to chrono those out or just kind of wait and see where things go. Both players on relatively even income right now. I would say that with the amount of money that we see Neo floating, it would be more than safe. In fact, it would be to his advantage to... By the way, that's the luckiest Oracle I've seen in a while. It would be to his advantage to at least try to Expo. No significant losses if he loses it. It's just minerals, not gas. And this zealot's going to kind of move out, but this observer's going to kind of see it. I don't know what we see Neo doing now that he's pulling it back. You know, mirror matchups, they can be some of the most cutthroat. They can be some of the most cutthroat and unforgiving matchups in the entire game, because it, relatively speaking, all depends on your supply count, how well you use, excuse me, your worker count, how well you use your workers, your units, your micro, of course. If it comes down to Blink Stalker versus Blink Stalker, that's going to come into play a lot. And now we have Psystorm coming down on 2 base. This is the, you know, this is a lot of tech for just 2 base guys. I actually was not expecting to see a Twilight Council on 2 base, but it's perfectly alright, I think. It seems like the game is, or at least the Zealot is moving faster than what I'm used to. I don't understand this. Like, he's moving faster than a speeding bullet in my perspective, but here we go. Wait a minute. Hold on just a second. Movement speed is faster than usual. Is there something I missed about this? Is this something that's new? Shoot. Okay. Anywho, the Oracle's just gonna come back, and it can play the role of detector in this army. Unless maybe it wants to take the role of killing all the light units here, which would basically mean just the zealots. I wouldn't say entirely useless, but perhaps not the most productive use of it. Neo is now researching Blink. It's about 50-ish% done, plus 2 ground attack going on the way for Mixmaster. But of course we also have plus 2 going down for Neo. Boy, I wish I had something to talk about, but really there's nothing too terribly new. But, oh, here we go. Neo is actually cranking out some Phoenixes. This is, I wouldn't say rather unexpected, but the word I would definitely use to describe this is obtuse. Not something we typically see in late game PvP, but of course we see Neo also tacking on another gateway behind this. Oracle's just kind of moving out, making sure that his opponent hasn't taken a third just yet. Maybe. And let's see just what he can see about this thus far. Nothing. And I can't hear anything either to the best of my knowledge. Of course, it looks like something did just try to come in here and scout, or perhaps we had... I don't know what just happened there. And I'm not going to go back in the replay to check, because of course I don't want to give you guys a detrimental viewership experience. Plus 2, just about to finish for Neo. While simultaneously Mixmaster is taking his plus 3 attacks. Fleet Beacon now on the way for Neo, so we're going to see a Mothership Core come out, or excuse me, a Mothership come out later on in the game. Now, one thing that is also important about this is that we basically have Neo ahead in terms of income. Not too terribly far ahead, but significantly far ahead. It'll start to build up and make a difference depending on what unit compositions both players elect to go with. And this is a little dangerous. He's actually splitting his forces. He does realize that, and he's basically pulling back right now. Yeah, if he had engaged that way, then it basically would have costed him the game. But right now, if we check the supplies of both players, army supply is actually vastly in favor of Mixmaster. One thing that we have to see Neo do is basically find a way to throw away his floating minerals. I mean, we see that Mixmaster is doing this by just adding zealots onto his composition. We have double Stargates cranking out nothing, and High Templar all the way back here at home. Looks like they will eventually join up with the main army. But interestingly enough, we only just now see charge in research for Mixmaster. This can actually cost him the game. Sort of. I'm not entirely sure what causes this, but for some strange reason, in mirror matchups, when it's speed zealots, when it's charge zealots versus ordinary zealots lose, and when it's speedlings versus ordinarylings, the ordinarylings lose, the slowlings lose. And here we go. The third is now under attack from Mixmaster. So it looks like, I don't think, yeah, this is basically gonna fall, and the High Templar are moving forward to storm, and that is just absolutely beautiful. It gets a lot of zealots, and oh my god, what just happened here? With that, we see Mixmaster was kind of forced to pull back. He's now restricted to 2 base. I wonder if any workers were killed in that. It looks like 5 of them, and the ones that were not killed must be extremely, extremely lucky, or feel that way at the very least. Right now, I want to say that if we see Neo directly engage Mixmaster, he's going to win this because he has 3 base income, and he's also got 3 base infrastructure. His spending is a little weak right now, but he could always remax on Zealous. We do see Tempest going down behind us, but of course here's the huge engagement, and it looks like we have Neo slowly but surely prevailing over this, but the biggest problem is the engagements for the Colossi. The Colossi actually do play a significant role in this. If we saw Void Rays from him, then it would actually be good, but it looks like with the first Tempest coming out, they will be able to target down the Colossi. safely at a distance. And remember, since Colossi are considered both air and ground units, these guys get a buff versus anything massive, which I believe Colossi are. Yes, they are. It's just that, you know, aside from Corruptors, I haven't really seen anything really use their buff against massive, specifically to Colossi. But I think we're about to see that change with the coming engagement. What on earth do we have here? We actually have 2 Tempests here that are not being pulled, and it looks like we have Protoss electing... Protoss. We have Red Toss electing... Oh my god! How many workers was that killed? That was 10. Okay, beautiful storms going down from Neo, and it looks like we have tGMixMaster kind of like looking for a good angle to engage. And right now, I want to say with what we see from him, it's not quite gonna pan out. High Templars only have 1 storm left on them, and we really need to see these Tempests get pulled, guys. You know, it doesn't hurt to rally them on your main force. And we have 2 Colossi, 1 Immortal, and 4 Stalkers pushing back the double Immortals, the Mass Stalkers, and the 4 Colossi of Red Toss. I just don't quite get this, guys. How does this work out? This is like... maybe he read into his opponent's upgrades. Who knows? But both players are relatively even, except we do see +1 shields for Mixmaster. He looks like he's gonna try and take this guy down relatively soon. Relatively wasted storm just went down in that location, and this is an interesting location for a 4th base. This is actually far from what we are used to seeing in higher level play, but of course it will work to the advantage of Neo here because his opponent just wouldn't expect it typically. He's already got control of the Zelnaga Watchtower. He's, you know, gonna check up here for a 4th. Yes, he is, but he is not quite poking in far enough just yet. There's no forward pylon just yet to give an attack, and it looks like this Zealot was misrallied. Poor guy. He's gonna get taken down by Protoss army. Well, here we go again with that Protoss, the Protoss adjective or the Protoss vernacular. It's just not working out in PvP, guys. So here we go, more Tempests coming into play, and excuse me, the only Tempest in the game actually really coming into play. The Oracle, unfortunately, does fall. But let's just see. Come on, how is this gonna work out, Neo? You have 184 supply as opposed to your opponent's 159. Your income is reasonably better than his, especially gas income, and you're almost maxed at 200. So just how are you going to engage into Mixmaster here? Let's wait and find out, huh? Probes are being pulled and put over here. One thing that comes to mind about this particular location and why it is typically chosen for the late game, we're talking 30 to 40 minute expo, is because in order to expo here, this directly involves your opponent. It directly involves running the risk of your opponent running into it, and it looks like we got the Tempests coming over here, getting ready to... Oh no, they targeted down a Stalker. It looks like they didn't quite get the kill. And they're actually not being used the way they should be right now. Still, this is a dangerous engagement nonetheless. We have the... Oh my god. Neo, no, Neo, no, Neo, you're actually engaging this wrong. It looks like you're not going to last too long. And now we have Mixmaster with a slowly but competently higher army. That was just the most, you know, I want to say for Mixmaster, that was definitely, I want to say, the most potent engagement I've seen in a PvP. And this is just precisely why your positioning matters when it comes to an engagement, as well as your unit composition. We had a lot of Archons here to tank for the damage that we're going up in front. And now it looks like we got Neo. Ah, does he know about this? He does. And he's gonna basically force Blue Toss to engage here. The Tempests here are in a lot of trouble, and it looks like they will get targeted down. He seems to forget that they are siege tanks in the sky, and if they are far enough up, they cannot be targeted. Here we go. Mixmaster is actually going to push back the main army of Neo, and everything here just got absolutely decimated. 4th base is going to fall from Mixmaster, or excuse me, from Neo, and now we have High Templar getting thrown away. Yeah. Kamikaze High Templar, I guess they thought they were going to go into the fight and do a lot of damage just by looking at these guys. So now we have Mixmaster pushing back, and it looks like this game is his for the taking. It's just going to take a moment to figure that out. A couple of Tempests actually going down here, trying to do some economic damage, you could say. But this is really just, I don't know whose game it really is. One Colossi coming into play from Neo, and that's one Colossus, and that's going to help in the engagement with the Zealots here. But of course, the bigger problem is the fact that he just lost his natural and a ton of workers with it. My God, even if Neo survives this attack, he probably won't have the income to remax anytime soon. He definitely won't. The main is dry, and there it is, the GG from Neo. Mixmaster is now victorious. He tried his best to engage there. He lost a Tempest, it looks like. Behind all of that, he did get a few probe kills. But overall, it's just the most critical points in this game were the engagements, really. When all of those Colossi were back over here, and they were getting concaved by Mixmaster's Colossi. And the biggest thing about that was, if I'm not mistaken, there was actually a supply difference of 50-something. Anywho, that's just some food for thought. In higher level play, I'm pretty sure we would have seen Mixmaster lose after the third had initially fallen. But for those of you who liked what you saw today, just go ahead and subscribe to me on YouTube, and I'll do my best to cater to the Reddit community for StarCraft 2. This has been Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.